I was just wondering, where does Chassidus originate from? Where does it come from? How do you know it's just not like a lot of just like fluff, I guess? Where in the Torah do you see Chassidus?
So where in the Torah do you see Chassidus? Is Chassidus just fluff? That's your question?
Right, yeah. Yeah.
I think the question stems from an understanding, rather a misunderstanding of what Chassidus is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're trying to say is like this. Chassidus is that the Pasuk says, the Pasuk will say, Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz megurei aviv be'eretz Canaan. And you'll say, Chassidus will say, Vayeshev Yaakov be'eretz megurei aviv. Megurei means he's collecting. Right? Be'eretz megurei aviv means he's collecting for his father, not for Yitzchak, right? For his collecting, not fear. Now the simple pasuk means Yaakov dwelt in Eretz Canaan, in the land of his father, in the land of Canaan, right? The Hasidic explanation is, but Yeshiv Yaakov was involved, dwelling deep down. Who's Yaakov? Yaakov is Yud Akif, the Yud of Hashem comes all the way down to the Akif to the hill. Be'eretz is in the Ratzin. Eretz is Ratzin, right? Megurei Aviv is the not the fear, but rather the collecting of his father, because he was there to collect for sparks for his father, because he realized that the purpose of this world is to collect sparks of Kedusha and bring them to Hashem.
That's how do you get that?
Eretz Canaan means a merchant, Kanani. So in the desire of a merchant, just like a merchant invests $100,000 to make $1 million, so too God invests in a Neshama into this world in order to accrue points, right? Yeah. So you're asking a question and you're saying, it's very nice, where did that pshat come from? I mean, the pshat is Yaakov lived in Eretz Meguri of Eretz Canaan, where his father was dwelling. So what does it mean, the deeper pshat, right?
Yeah.
That's a question.
That's my answer, yeah, good.
So I'm going to question the question, basically. But first of all, does everyone agree? Are you both on the same page? You understand his question?
Yeah.
Which means I was, at the beginning, when you asked that question, I don't understand what you're talking about. Because you're telling me that you're saying, where do Chassidus come from? And I'm like wondering, what do you mean, where do Chassidus come from? Where did anything else come from? And I'm trying to put myself into your mind to understand, what are you asking? And what you're asking is, Chassidus appears to be superimposed on the Torah.
Right.
Because what we call a Chassidish pshat, and then you come along and you say, very nice. I mean, it's really, really beautiful. In fact, some Chassidish pshat are beautiful. Did you ever hear the one of the Bas Ayin? It was a couple of weeks ago, but about Chanukah.
Yeah.
Bas Ayin says that Tamar and Yehuda, right? Tamar is the neshama. Tamar, tzadika, Tamar, ifrach. So the Tamar is Tamar and Yehuda. Yehuda is Hashem. Yud Kei Vav Kei Yehuda, right? So Tamar comes before Yehuda, and she tells him, "Vayikim mishloish chodoshim." He goes through a whole lengthy explanation, but Vayikim mishloish chodoshim took place after 3 months. What's after 3 months? Because the neshama. The story with Yehuda and Tamar is that there was Yehuda and Tamar, and Yehuda had relations with Tamar, and then afterwards. He wants to put her to death. Right. And she says, recognize the Matan and Tzilim, who do they belong to, right? So the Bas Ayin, in a beautiful, exquisite Hasidic explanation, says that, you know what it means? It means that Tamar is the Neshama. Yeah? And Tamar has relations with Hashem. Meaning she gets into a relationship with God. When does that relationship take place? It happens, right? When do you get the most incredible relationship with God? Which time of year?
Oh.
Right?
Kippur.
Yom Kippur, Yom Kippur, the whole story. That's when you get the most connection to God. And then what happens is, then afterwards, whatever resolutions you made on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and Sukkot and Simchas Torah, what happens to them? They all disappear. Right? So the pasuk says, "Vayikim mishloish chodashim," and comes after 3 months, approximately 3 months. It's not really 3 months. Why? Because from Tishrei, the end of Tishrei, Cheshvan and Kislev, is almost 3 months, approximately 3 months. So approximately 3 months later, what Yom Tov is it? Chanukah. By Yugad Lihudo Leimer, Yehuda Hashem is told Zon so Tamar kalasecha. Tamar, your neshama, she's done znus. She's out for lunch, basically. I thought she was with you.
She literally did.
Your neshama
Right.
has had relations with the world. She forgot about you.
She literally did this also. She did this with Yehuda. They had a legit time on her.
But I'm getting the Chassidus pshat.
Okay, so where do you draw the line then?
I'm saying, look at the beautiful trap. Tamar kalasecha, what's your kala?
Right.
What does kala mean?
Wife, kala, bride.
Kala is a bride, but kala also means klois nefesh. Tamar was supposed to have klois nefesh. Look where she is. The gamine harali is doing. She's actually pregnant from the world. People get into their jobs and their lives and their issues, and they forget completely about God. It's been 3 months, and Rosh Hashanah, you forgot about God completely. Send her out into Golus, and then maybe she'll get a closer nefesh of burning back to God. So he would say she was taken out to Golus. She sent to her fire. Chamia is her father-in-law, but also her fire. She says, to this man, I'm pregnant. Which means my relationship is with God only. But no, she says, recognize the what is that? That's Chanukah, right? The Chaisemes is the Pach Shemen Chasum B'Chaisemes L'Kohen Gadol, the stamp. Psilim, what's that? The wicks. The Amate.
Staff is a candle.
The candle, I think it says, if I'm mistaken. Yaki Yehuda v'yem tzodkom, and you're right. You know what? She's right. And why did this happen? Ki al kein lo inesatiyah l'sheila b'ni. Who's Sheila? I didn't give it to Sheila. Who's Sheila?
Ivanim.
Sheila is gematria. Sheila is 335. So Mashiach, it says the one in Sanhedrin says Shiloi Shmoi. Ad ki yavoi Shiloi. So right.
Sheila, right?
Mashiach. One second. Mashiach. Okay, that's in a little more now. That doesn't work. But Shiloi is gematria Mashiach. But no. Yeah, the point is Shiloi is Ad ki yavoi Shiloi. And so he said, right. So you're saying like this. You're saying taking a pshat like that. You're saying it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
But where does it come from?
Yeah. I can only just like, I don't know, put this to this to that to that.
What do you guys think? Everyone's quiet here. Any thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's the side, right? In paradise, right? There's this pashup shot to the psukim, and then there's the side of the psukim, the deeper part of the psukim.
Right.
And Hashem, this is so Hashem's saying over the story that it actually happened like this way, but Hashem made it happen like
the Ramban says, "Hatoira medaberes bo'elyonim beremezes batachtoinim." Torah speaks bo'elyonim in the heavens, and it's actually hinting in the tachtoinim. Where do you think the Torah was written? Who told you the Torah is a story of the simple pshat, right? He says the pshat Rem is Jerusalem side. Maybe that's the real one. How do you know this is the real one? Maybe the other one's the real one.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like, how do you know pshat? The Malachim, it says in Masechta Shabbos, the Malachim had a whole discussion with God, right? They said to Moshe, they said to Hashem, Mali ludisha beineinu. What's this mortal son and a woman doing by us? And Hashem says, the Kabul Torah. He wants to receive the Torah. They say, what? You're going to give a Torah to a man, human being? And he's trying to convince him. He said, what do you think? What does it say in the Torah? It says, did you go to Mitzrayim? Do you have a Yetzer Hara? Do you have jealousy? Do you don't even know what that means. Now, what were they thinking? They were thinking the Torah should be given on the spiritual level. They understood the Torah on the spiritual side. They didn't understand the physical side of it, actually.
Right.
Right?
Super deep, right?
But the truth is that the question, the premise is the problem. Saying the whole premise of it is the issue. Meaning, what's your premise? That it's a Chassidish pshat. So I want to tell you what Chassidus means. I don't know I think the problem is the word Chassidus, the way it's portrayed, and what it means to the average person today. It's a guy living in Brooklyn. Chassidish means weiße Socken and Pacha and Chulent and Kegel, right? and a kapota, and a lot of stuff. A lot of guys don't necessarily relate to because you want to be a little more modern, etc. Right? So let's put this aside the word Chassidus for the moment, and let's call it soul, neshama. Now, what's your question? It's like saying like this. Let me rephrase your question so you understand where it's coming from. Imagine I tell you that marriage actually needs connection and soul. And you ask me a question, where did that come from? Since when did it begin? Around what time? What time period in history did it begin that marriage needed soul?
The marriage what?
A marriage needed soul, needed neshama.
Was it?
If I ask you, what is marriage?
Marriage is the connection between the union between a man and his wife.
Right, but you know that's not really what a marriage is. A marriage is a shared bank account, shared kids. Okay, you have to create the kids, fine. I'm saying, but a marriage is just a roommate who you can't ignore. Usually a roommate you can ignore, a marriage you can't ignore her. Where do you get this idea of marriage is to have a relationship and a connection and a soul bond and like a bashert and all that stuff, that you have to actually have two souls meeting? Where does that come from?
Rivka and Yitzchak.
I would think you would tell me that you're supposed to look at me and like say,
It's common sense.
yeah, obviously. Duh. Why can't a child get married? A child,
Not mature enough, not developed enough.
right? There's a din of miyun. Miyun. Miyun means, you know what miyun is?
Yeah.
Miyun means, a father can marry off his daughter, but a mother and a brother only rabbinically. If she decides she's out, she's out. How does she leave? No get, no nothing. She goes, ciao, I'm leaving. And she's out. Because she's a kid. A kid doesn't have the ability to connect in marriage because they don't understand that in marriage you got to stay there, you got to be there, and you have to actually, like, this is another person with whom you are now going to share life. It's a spouse. They don't get. To them, marriage is playing house. But anybody who has a chush, right, a shtickle chush in marriage understands that what is a marriage? It is that. It's a soul connection. If you connect with someone who you are not blood with, because if you're blood, then there's a blood connection. It's pashut, right? If you're connected to your sister, whether you like it or not, you won't see your sister for 20 years, and you'll still go to the wedding when she has marries off a kid. But when you're married to someone, there is no blood between you. So what binds you to the other person if not the soul? Why do you come home every night? Why do you keep on working with them? Why do you have kids and raise kids? How does a marriage survive without a spouse who goes to the other one and talks? And if you know that marriage, how complex it is, the spouse will say, you have to know how to talk, right? Imagine the guy's married and his wife tells him, clean up the kitchen, the mess in the kitchen, clean it up. His natural reaction is going to be, what?
Yeah.
Don't tell me what to do. It's like, hey. So, but if she comes along and says, hey, I'm really tired, and the kitchen is the thing I really can't handle in the kitchen. Could I trouble you, please? If you could just clean that for me. I know you're busy, but if you don't mind. And it's said in a softer way, right? You see how it might work? And you understand that you have to once in a while bring your wife a gift. You have to bring her. No, she doesn't like roses. She likes to have good words. And marriage is this whole avoider of trying to figure out, what do you want? What does the other person want? It's like it's not easy. It's very challenging, and sometimes you fall like you're wondering, oh my gosh, Lord Almighty, what does the spouse want? And the guys don't understand the girls, and the girls don't understand their husbands, and that's a big issue. And the whole avoid of marriage is to figure out, what does it say? What does the other person want? What do they mean? You get the complexity? So, you ask your wife one thing, or she'll tell you. You'll say you come up at night. She says, "Are you hungry?" I'm not hungry. No. I'm starving. But I want to tell you and admit that I'm hungry and I'm, suffering over here, or whatever. So the avodah of marriage is to kind of like delve deep into the words and to chap what's being said and to be able to access it. But you see how it's not a Chassidish pshat in the words. It's the pshat. It's the kilu. That's what they said. That's what the other person is trying to communicate to me. In fact, most of the time, what she says is not what she means. It's like a whole different world what she actually meant. Right?
That makes sense.
So now, once upon a time, people were much more plugged in. Let's say way back when, the Beis Hamikdash times, people were plugged in. So when God said something, they knew what He was saying. They appreciated it. They got it. And then we fell into Golus. And what's the problem with Golus?
We're elsewhere.
What?
We're elsewhere. We're out to lunch.
We're disconnected. God talks and we don't know what He's saying. That's the problem. But you have. He's talking to us and we say, what does it mean? Okay, I'll read the word, fine. What does it mean? Fine.
Yoseph Yaakov, right, so right. Totally missed the boat.
Right. Chassidus doesn't give a pshat in the words. He gives a light.
Relationship. It's a hint.
Right.
It's the whole hint of the relationship. That's what it is.
In other words, the question is, where was Chassidus all the time?
Right. Yeah. Right.
The answer is, where was anything else all the time?
It was always around. You're saying it was always around.
That was the way it was learned. That was Abaye Rava inherently had Chassidus. They learned, and the neshama was on fire when they were learning. What happened was, as Golus increased over the course of the years,
It was lost. Right. Rabbi Kiva learned. Rabbi Shimon Rabbi Chai learned. It was all trend.
Rabbi Kiva darshan tilim shel halachas al kol tag v'tag in the Torah. What was he doing? He had drushes and everything on every little crown in the Torah. And the man lived with God. He says, and in his moment of death, he says, Kol yomai ayisi mitzvah mos ayoboy leyodi v'kaiman. You know what that means? Every single time he said Kriya Shema, he had to restrain himself when he said B'chol levav, b'chol nafshecha, b'chol meidecha. I say B'chol levav, b'chol meidecha every single day, multiple times a day, and I've never had a problem restraining my soul from disappearing. But he said, Kol yomai, all my life. I was like, I didn't know what to do. I was worried about how do I reach this point of attachment to God? Because that's what I was looking for all the time. Do you see the difference? So how do we define what is Chassidus? It's the Torah read by the tzaddik. When he reads the Torah, which means there's multiple meanings. Let me give you an example. Whoever says, Amen yesh mei rabba b'chol koichoi mekarin lo gzardinoi shel ayin shana. You heard that one?
Yeah.
If you say Amen with all your might, they rip apart a gzardin of 70 years. Okay? So what does that mean? You should do what? What are Chazal telling us to do?
Say mean Hishmar with Kavana and you'd be set.
Okay, go. Say. How do you say it? Go.
Mean Hishmar.
Omen yesh mei rabo mevorach. And then you have no more gzardin v'ayin shana. Now, no offense, but if I were another guy, I would say, I'm not buying into this religion. You're trying to tell me that if you scream yesh mei rabo mevorach leolam, now you have no more problems.
Try that.
So you did a Averis, did whatever you did, but a Gzar Din of 70 years disappears because you scream Amen Yesh Mei Rabam. Don't you think we missed the point? We didn't understand what it means? So I'll show you simple pshat. Simple pshat. Yeah? What does mevorach mean?
Bless.
What does blessed mean?
Give a bracha.
What does the bracha mean?
Bless. Thank. I guess. Some sort of, I don't know, right? Bless you, Hashem.
Levarech. What's a berech?
Me.
The knees are your birkaim, right? What's vayavreich? Vayavreich hagmalim. With Eliezer, he comes with the camels and he's mavrich et hagmalim. What did he do with them? Bent the knees, he crouched them down. Leavrich means to draw down. Right?
Okay. So he draws down 70 years of...
What?
So you draw down 70 years of...
Oh, not drawing down 70 years. So mevorach. What's le'olam?
Forever. World.
Into the world. Ule'ol me'omaya.
Forever and ever.
Into the world of the world. Kabbalah explains there are 4 worlds. Atzilus, Brit, Tzir, Asiyah, which is the Mishnah. Nichvoidi, Brasi, Vitzarti, Afasisi, the last Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. Never mind what those worlds are. The point is that there's world, in our world, there's division, there's lack of connection to God. So now, Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach, what does that mean? May the great name of Hashem,
Be blessed.
which is removed, be Mevorach, be
crouched down.
Be drawn down into this world and into the division of this world. Yisborach, it should really be drawn down. And if you really want to split hairs, Shmei Rabba, Shmei is actually, there's Shmei, if you've spelled out fully, will be Shem Yudke. So there's Yudke Vavke, and Vavke is the name, the part of God that comes down. Yudke is the part that remains above. Yehei Shem Yudke Rabba, may the great name of Yudke be Mevorach, be drawn down all the way into this world and into the world of the worlds, all the way into Elam Asiyah, into the world of division. To be drawn down and experienced and expressed in this world. Right?
There's a lot going on.
So now let's re-say that. Chazan says, Yizgadal v'Yizkada Shmei Rabbo. What does he mean? The name of God should become great and holy. In the world that He created according to His desires, let Him be king of it and bring us Mashiach in your life and your days and all the days of all of Beis Yisrael. Immediately. And you should say, what should you say? You say, let it be. And you say, in the name of God, the holy name which is removed, be drawn down into the world, into the world of world, and drawn down all the way down. How's it going to be drawn down? Not by you saying Amen Yesh Mirabah and then going home and screaming at your wife. That's not how. Not by you going into business and cheating the guy, cheating the government, cheating your friend, cheating whatever. No, it's not going to happen through that. It's going to happen by your living a life of drawing God down. So Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Lo Malai, it means I should successfully draw the oneness of God all the way down into this world. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Which is the Hasidic pshat, and which is the pshat? Is that a Hasidic pshat, or is that a way of life? Of course, that's a way of life. What do you mean? It's telling you, if you do this, mekarin lo igzardina shel ayin shono. You could live a life. If you live a life, and your life is about drawing God down into this world, so then you rip apart a gzardin of 70 years because your whole life becomes worthwhile, real, true, emistic, passionate. Right? But we're going to say no. Who told you that pshat? Where did that one come from? Who said that interpretation? So the real interpretation you'll say is, may the name of Hashem be blessed forever and ever and ever. Okay? I got you. I'm not sure why I think that's the real one, the other one's not the real one.
Echad is different layers.
In other words, like this, it's if you warm yourself up. It's like in the Teichacha, it's beautiful. In the Teichacha it says, like a beautiful curse. It says, "Afu eser noshim lachmechem b'sanur echad." 10 women are going to bake bread in one oven.
Right?
Sounds like a curse. Balatanya says, 10 women. He says, who are the 10 women? Each of us has 10 women. A woman is a recipient. So the 10 recipients are your intellect and emotions, the Essa spheres, which each one of us has. And 10 of your recipients, your intellect and emotions, all 10 of them, are going to be baked betanur echad, in the oven of echad. When a Yid says, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, and if he really, really, really connects to those words that Hashem Echad, that God is one, what does he do? He lights up a fire in the etzem of his nefesh. It's a fire lit, a passionate burning for God. And if he does, everything's baked on that. And if not, what happens if not? You get a stomachache, he says. If you eat bread that's not baked, you get a stomachache. In other words, if a person ignites the fire of echad in his soul, and he's passionate about God because he davens and he thinks about him, and he connects to a Rebbe, to a tzaddik, etc. And what happens is, in his inner being is ignited in a shama. There's the soul on fire there. And Meile, when he talks, his Eser Noshim are talking godly. So when he says Amen Yeishmei Rabba Mevorach, immediately you listen, wow, oh, I get it, that's what it means. And the rest of us, when we daven, when we say things, what do we say? There's no tanur echad, there's no, you're basically baking bread, you're baking bread, there's no fire. So you're not really baking the bread. What's happening to the bread is, you're getting an indigestion, basically. You're eating bread that's doughy. And that's what Chassidus is. Chassidus is, this is the key of Chassidus. The holy tzaddikim attributed all of us, gave us all the power of godliness. They effectively vested us with a koyach of elokus. So all of us are now godly. Now, until then, only the holy tzaddikim were able to do it. But the rest of us had no access to learn with a godly passion. What Chassidus does is, it gives, this is the key, it gives even mortals like you and I an ability to find a connection to God. Like for example, your face was shining when we were talking about Amen Yesh Rabba. Right? You didn't see it, I saw it. You looked like you were saying, that resonates with me. That resonates deeply. I feel it. Right? And you can't explain what it is. It's a feeling, it's an intellectual feeling. It's a feeling that you realize it's true. Wow. Yeah? That's Chassidus is the power that a Rebbe, a tzaddik, gives you to be able to experience that. That's all he's doing. He's giving you, he's passing on the baton to allow you to experience Elokus. Which is what it always was. But then, when in history fathers and sons were starting to pass over right from one to the next, and the problem was the father died because he was murdered by some inquisition or some crusader or whatever, or some pogrom, so he couldn't pass it over to his child. And his child grew up and all he knew was he got to go out and work. So he went out to work and maybe he forgot, he didn't get to learn. Or he went to learn the pain and suffering that he was going through in life was so intense that he wasn't able to express himself. And so we kind of like lost it. How sad is that? We lost our entire attachment to God. And the Baal Shem Tov came along, and his name was Yisrael. And he says, Yisrael, wake up. Wake up. This is you. I'm going to call to your neshama, your language. How do you know it's true? Tell me now. Let's go back to Omni Yesh Rabbi. How do you know that Pshat is true? Do you think it's true?
Saying people use ways of learning Torah.
What?
There's different ways of learning the Torah, I guess.
I'm asking you, how do you know? How do you know Omni Yesh Rabbi is true, that it means to draw down the great name of Hashem to all the way into the world?
It's in the Mishnah. He says, I don't know, different way. Okay.
You don't even understand my question. Because what you're saying is, it resonates. If I were to ask you, how do you know this is a cup?
It's a cup, it's a fact.
You'd be like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's a fact.
Right. Chassidus presents Judaism as a fact, as a living fact. That's what's going on. There's a connection to God. That's what we built here. In other words, it's not Chassidish pshatim on the pasuk. A tzaddik feels it. He's not imposing a pshat. He feels that. This is his bones. Does every guy who says a Chassidish pshat means a Chassidish pshat? No. It only works if your tanur isn't on fire on echad. If your tanur is on echad, then it'll work. Otherwise, there'll always be ego creeping in. So that's the answer to your question. You have the answer? Everyone else is quiet. Are you not agreeing or are you agreeing? What?
No, I would say. What I'm saying, good.
So that's the Nakuda. The Nakuda is basically the Baal Shem Tov gave us a tremendous gift.
It was always there. It was always there from the day when we lost it. We swooped so low, it got lost in whatever.
Right. The gift the Baal Shem Tov gave us,
Restored it.
yeah. He restored it and he also brought it down to us. Right, but how do you know that it's real? The answer is
She was always around. Kiva, same thing. If Kiva had it, it was always there. And it was just passed down. And it was right. That's what you ever said, right? Kiva's Hashem almost came out of him. Passed down to Shimon, passed down to right. So that was life. That was life back in the day. That was life. They understood that. It was so pasha to them.
right.
That's what you're saying, right?
They couldn't understand
Everyone
us.
was a chassid back in the day. We were just lost. We were lost.
They didn't understand what we are.
Right.
Like, what are you guys doing? You come to shul and you just like dance around with the bimba. You understand what you're doing? Do you understand why now? You're waking up in the morning, you're putting on black boxes on your head and by your heart. Why? And you don't have an answer. But you sense it. Of course it's true.
I feel like I asked a stupid question.
I'm saying that it's amazing how the question is the problem. It's just a different way to relate to it. And yes, it's amazing when you learn Chassidus, suddenly things which make no sense fall into place. People go for derech because they don't understand things that makes no sense.
Yeah.
And the truth is, just explain it. So yeah, that's the maskana. What's the take-home message?
What's the take-home message? So first of all, it's much more than what sees the eye. That's definitely true. And like it's just not like it's just a bunch of gimmicks and comics. Like it's always been around. It's not just it's always been around. Like day one was just lost. Like this is how everyone related to Hashem like a father. It was just Like it was just this whole thing just lost.
Fine. And our avoid is
Bring it back.
to bring it back. Yeah. It's a deep. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
You disagree?
I'm recorded.
Why?
This is why the Messiah is lost. Because people want to talk on it said.
Okay. Ask the question off record. Now I'm recording again. So you're saying like this. You're saying, what about all those people who didn't learn Chassidus through the ages, and they turned out all right? Is that correct?
Partial. Meaning, it should line up. So meaning their shot and everything should be similar to your shot.
The pshat, their pshat meaning what? From way back when?
Yeah. Because if you're saying originally everyone learned that kind of way anyhow, it was just lost, so it should be.
It is. The Chumash is written that way.
So I'm saying, so why don't they have that understanding? Why don't if you meet a Litvish guy in the yeshiva today, why doesn't he have the same understanding?
First of all, I don't know what Litvish, Hasidish.
Whatever it is.
Those,
I'm just using
let's
the words
ignore
that I
those
know.
labels because it's
Fine, whatever it is. A person that doesn't
me.
follow Chassidus.
I have a way before I learn. No, I'm not saying it's not a person. Before I learn the Hasidic translation, I am inevitably going to translate it with my secular being, which means if I read Malcolm Gladwell's David and Goliath, that's going to impact the way I understand the story of David and Goliath. And if I read Dale Carnegie or whichever other pop psychologist you have in America, and then I read the Torah, I'm going to actually impose that, and that's going to become my Mussar work. But it isn't Torah. I have an idea. And I say, well, look, you find that idea in Torah also. And then the other guy goes off the derech because he says he's talking Baba Maises. I'm like, what do you mean? How could you go off the derech? Nobody would go off the derech if we were communicating the message correctly. Because the message is so powerful. So again, I don't buy the Litvish Hasidus. I don't know what those terms are. I see a lot of guys over here who are very Litvish, quote unquote, like you, and yet learn and express Hasidus in the most beautiful way possible. Like really amazing. You know, but what I'm saying is, you've got to realize that Hasidus really, really answers life's questions. Like it just, argue again. I'm
not sure you answered the question.
So maybe I don't understand the question.
You were saying before that Chassidus, basically we lost our interpretation, so to say, or not our
intuition,
whatever it is.
Right.
Go ahead.
So I was saying that Jews lost the pneumius of Yiddishkeit, where Yiddishkeit was really supposed to be.
Yes.
Right. So I mean, let's say you have like Rav Yisrael, right, the Mussar movement, right? That was also to access the pneumius of right, and that's Litvish. Right.
Again, I'm not making any
right.
comment.
I mean, I'm asking if this is.
It's in today's day and age. That's not Litvish or not. This is to do with people who work with their neshamas and people who don't.
Right. So I was saying,
and the default setting of all of us is we don't, and we work our way to get there. Mussar. Again, Mussar is very holy. But much of what Mussar does is it says, get into shape. Don't have bad midah. Have a great, good midah. Chassidus approach, talk about God. Let's talk about God. Let's ignite a fire of Hashem Echad inside your soul, then the rest you'll figure out on your own. That's the Chassidic message. Now what are you saying? I didn't understand your question still. You seem unhappy.
Very happy. So you were saying, so basically what you said, so they're different, there were different routes and things like that, right? And you said at certain points people lost their full understanding, whatever it is, you know, Hashem came and, you know, and really helped people relate to it, and that's where we have the Chassidus today. But the point is, the people from hundreds of years back that had the full connection, why don't they have the same shot as you in the pasuk that you mentioned earlier? Like, understand why is it like a huge breakthrough? Like this is Chassidus, and should they also
people
have,
of which generation?
from the prior generation that weren't connected to Chassidus?
Women weren't there because they weren't connected.
But I'm saying there's the Gra and Rav Yisrael and all the tzaddikim, right? Who weren't Chassidish, right? But they were connected to the Pneumius of Torah, but that's not how they gave over the Hashkafa.
Correct.
So what's pshat in that?
So it's a different question.
I think
Same question? Oh, okay. So then I can answer easily. It's very simple. They didn't have phones, cell phones, with all the gadgets, smartphones. They didn't have it. So the Talmidim of the Gra didn't need to do the avodah that me and you need to do today, because the darkness in the world wasn't nearly what it is today. They didn't see in the whole lifetime taivas you see in one day or 1 week. They didn't need to work on that element. They didn't need to strengthen their real, true relationship in that sense, because what they had was good
we
enough.
have a deeper understanding today in certain.
You bet we do.
Elements than they
Our generation is the greatest generation that ever lived. Why? Because we have no choice. That's why. Because in today's day and age, if you're going to be from, you especially today's day and age, if you're going to be from, you're either going to get it or you'll never be from. There's no way to stay in this from kind unless you truly, truly get it. Because otherwise you'll just be doing cold over us. If you want to make sure you don't succumb to what your phone has to offer you, and it's very tempting, you're going to have to work on yourself to the point you really, 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 truly and honestly believe this. And then we can talk. If you don't really believe it, you'll never be in. 20 years ago, you didn't even need that. It was totally unnecessary. Today, it is vital to Jewish survival. Right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
This is what I was saying, that the tzaddikim were all connected to the Pneumius, but they didn't give it over to the Hamanam, to like the regular people, and Chassidus was to give it over to everyone.
Yeah, and Layemim says that tzaddikim, before Chassidus, tzaddikim were, the tzaddik is given Elend, und die Talmidim seien given Elend. He was alone and they were alone. Each one was to his own. They were separate. There was no bond. There was no connection between them. What did Chassidus introduce into the picture? The connection. That the tzaddik teaches, and the chassid gets it and is inspired by it and transforms his life through this. Oh, that's a whole different mindset. Because I wouldn't think that you and I, living as we do in very simple lives, are able to access the depth of what God has to offer, what the tzaddikim have to offer. Which is what Tanya is. Tanya is all about the Beinani. The hero is the Beinani. The Beinani is the regular Joe. The regular guy. And we still in the back of our mind entertain this notion, another one of those things that we think, that Judaism is built for the holy tzaddikim. And I'm trying to be one of them, but at some point I realize I'm not. And you want to go, we have this thing, you go you go to holy people, you go to Eretz Yisrael, you go brachas from every single person you possibly can. And you think you're being Jewish. Sorry, that's not Judaism. Judaism is living a life of godliness. Judaism is, on a day-to-day basis, you express God in your life. The only way to do that is if deep down your whole neshama gets on fire. So, Chassidus says that tzaddik ignites your neshama. When he ignites your neshama goes on fire. And it's doesn't happen and it's done. It's a constant process of making it happen. And then what happens?
You light all the souls on fire.
You light all the souls on fire. You start reading the Torah as is. You start chapping it. And the more you exercise this muscle, the more real it becomes in life. That's the simple answer. So what was your question at the beginning?
So repeat 45 minutes.
Right? Where do they have Chassidus?
Now we look at it, it's such a deeper meaning now. There's so much going on.
Oh.
Perhaps it's been information with many different interpretations.
Right. All right? that is the word for today.